or whatever.
Do you
it is.
what vices do you have? Do you have vices?
Adrenaline used to be a vice. You know, I used to
Do risky behaviors?
not risky in the illegal sense, but
Sports stuff?
yeah. I mean, I went cage exit shark dive and loved every second of it. Great white sharks, and until I had an air failure down there.
What happened?
I had to call over another diver and do the share air thing, and
Holy shit!
I was alone in the cage.
Oh my god!
I went with my buddy Michael Muller, who's this fantastic photographer, like celebrity photographer, but he also takes pictures of sharks. We were studying fear, so we decided to go do VR of great whites off Guadalupe. I went the first year, stayed in the cage, didn't exit, but got my scuba certification. Second year, this is 2017, went out, bunch of friends, Brian McKenzie, who's kind of a like performance guy and former SEAL team guy. And anyway, we're out there. I'm in the cage. 3 divers leave to do the cage exit thing with their film the VR, and I'm on the hookah line. And then at some point,
what's a hookah line?
It's a line up to the surface that you're breathing oxygen.
Oh, okay.
But I was alone in the cage, and I'd been there the year before. So the sharks are coming in all over the place, and they're huge. I mean, the girth is insane. But I'm in the cage, and they're out of the cage. And then all of a sudden, I got no air. I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
So I look up, and the hose had kind of boa constricted up on itself. So I was like, so I pop up. Remember, no scuba on me because I'm just in the cage. And the thing's like concrete, clink, clink, clink. And you're down 40 feet below the surface. It's like, oh God. So I drop down to the corner. There's a spare tank down there. Open it up. Nothing. Nothing comes out.
It's empty?
It's empty. So I go to the other reserve tank. Open it up. Nothing. Okay, so now I'm screwed. So I'm getting I haven't had any air in a little bit, but probably only 10, 15 seconds, but freaking out. So I get up on top of the cage. I've got a weight belt on, and I'm like, okay, I guess I shoot for the surface because I can see the boat up there. Because if I stay down here, I'm clearly going to die. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, shooting for the surface is exactly what they like. Are they going to eat? You know, you're just kind of, I started to kind of panic a bit.
Oh, Jesus.
And at that point, one of the divers, yeah, that's me there. That's while I'm in the cage. See, they're big. They're big animals. So
and how are they attracting these fish?
You're not allowed to chum. So they just come in. They're super good. So yeah, you film that from the cage. So
that was meat, though.
Yeah, so you can keep tuna up on the surface, but we're down in the deep cage. There's a surface cage and a deep cage. So then what happened? Yeah, Muller shot that for our VR in the lab. So then what happened was this guy, Brock, who's one of the divers, that's Muller. Muller wears a yellow suit to look more like a tuna so they come closer.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, he's you guys would get along. He's a longtime Hollywood guy who's a kind of photographer who does these adventures. So then one of the divers saw me, and I was like, I need air, and he kind of looked at me, and so he kicked his way back over, but that was a long wait. And then we did the share air thing, but now 2 divers are out, and we're there sharing air, and there's only so much air before you eventually run out, and there's nothing in the reserves. Eventually they came back, and then we pulled the rope and got out. And it was enough of a scary experience for me that I was like, oh God. So and actually I got out, and a guy from the SEAL teams came over to me, super calm, like typical of those guys. He's like, so what do you take away from that experience? And I was like, check the safety tanks. He was like, check the safeties. But I will say this, I'm not tough. Like, this is not to kind of, inflate myself. But the next day I woke up and I was seriously freaked out. And so I actually went down the next day again, and I cage exited. And the reason I did it is because, first of all, when I cage exited, I was on scuba. So I felt totally contained. I knew I wasn't going to die of an air failure. And the other reason is everything we know about trauma and the treatment of trauma is that if you live with that bug in your brain about quote unquote almost dying, in fact, I don't even like to say that, that's stuck in you. So I went down there in the cage, and then I cage exited.
And you keep saying cage exited.
Swam out of the cage with the sharks. Turns out when they're swimming at you, if you swim toward them, they bank off. If you don't, if you shoot for the surface or something, they go, oh,